Employee engagement programs are a waste of time and money unless, as a manager, you are engaged yourself. Hi, this month's blog's all about engagement. Now, we've all been involved in employee engagement surveys and had meetings about the scores and what to do about them, but no one ever says, but how engaged are the managers? The scores are often all just lumped together if they're taking it all from the manager's input. Now, according to Gallup International, 81% of people who are in leadership positions in organisations are not highly engaged. In other words, they're present at work, but they're not giving their all, or even actively disengaged. But you won't be one of those, of course. So today, let's talk about how do you work about if you're on that top 21% of highly engaged managers or not. And next time, I'll suggest what we can do about it to improve your score and therefore improve your results. Today I'm going to go through 7 things to consider, and if you find yourself scoring towards a 9 or 10 as we go through, that's a good sign. There may be 1 or 2 we go, well, maybe not, so that could be an area of attention. You may be keen to watch next month's blog where I'll give you some specific things to do that will help. Why am I concentrating on this? Well, because if you're not engaged, there's no way on earth that your team can be highly engaged. They take their lead from you. So one of the wonderful things about being a manager or a leader is the power you have to influence others simply by modelling the behaviours you want to see in them. Okay, let's take a look at the 7 areas. Score yourself now out of 10 for each one, 10 of course being the highest. Number 1, this one is your work ethic. Now, I'm not talking about working super late every night, but I am saying you have to have a solid work ethic. If you are at work when you should be and you leave at a reasonable time, if you're having days off work, it is for genuine reasons, not just because you feel like you need to have a sickie. Now, part of this work ethic also is being accountable. So if things aren't going well, you're not blaming and pointing the finger at, I don't know, the government, tempting though that may be, or your customers or your family, teams, other colleagues and so on, and generally making excuses. So how do you score yourself out of 10 for that? Number 2, ideas. Do you constantly find yourself coming up with ideas of how things can be done better? How to improve processes, relationships with other departments or customers? These ideas just kind of pop up out of nowhere, and they're not confined just to your working day. They'll often happen when you're doing something else, usually mundane, like exercising or doing the dishes, or in my case, tiny game hunting in my veggie garden. So what's your score out of 10 for this one? Number 3, are you a learner? Are you actively seeking feedback on what you can do better and differently? Are you okay with hearing what some of your weaknesses might be? Do you have that steel backbone to allow yourself to be vulnerable and admit your mistakes? Because if you are all of these, then you're open to improving and growing and getting better at what you do. And only people who are highly engaged are willing, generally, to put the time and effort into acting on what they learn. People who don't actively seek feedback often don't want it because they're scared of what might be in it. And without feedback, it can be hard to see how to improve. But if you care about your work, you care about your results, and you care about the company and the team, it's a given that you get feedback. And that leads us to the next point. So score yourself out of 10 for that. And let's jump into number 4. How engaged is your team? Are they achieving are they highly productive? Are they contributing ideas? Are they doing a lot of things we're going through right now? If you are, then they will be. And if they're not, that could well be a symptom that your level of engagement is not there either. So how do you score them out of 10? Right up there on the contributing scale, by the way, is challenging what your boss or other senior managers are putting to you. So if you feel committed enough to the success of the business or your team, you will find the strength to question their decision and sometimes put an alternative. Out of 10, what do you score? Number 6. Do you put your hand up for projects outside the confines of your particular role? In other words, are you a volunteer? There may be something that comes up, say a business improvement project that you think, hey, that'd be great to see that happen, but it's not actually part of your job. But perhaps you and 1 or 2 other colleagues go, yes, let's make this work. Or it may be that your boss is scanning around the team asking for volunteer for something, and well, no one's putting up their hand, except you, of course, because you're highly engaged. What do you score out of 10 for this? And finally, number 7, and this one is fun. If I was to ask your team if they think you enjoy your work, what would they say? How would they score you? Now, you don't have to be walking around with a silly grin on your face all the time, but people do respond to the mood of their boss. You make the biggest difference to the mood of your team. Yes, you. So, what do you score yourself out of 10 for that one? And by the way, congratulations on watching this video. It's a clue that you're certainly engaged in being a better manager. And that's one of the signs we've just covered, learning. So that's me for now. Stay shiny side up. And next time we'll go through what you can actually do to improve your score.